The meeting room on Nexus Prime was huge, big enough to hold representatives from 12 different alien species, but today it felt small and crowded with fear. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim sat in the back corner watching everything. He wore his dark, blue human Navy uniform, but no one paid attention to him. Humans were observers here, nothing more. They had been trying to join the Galactic Council for 30 years. Every time the answer was the same: not yet, maybe later. Ambassador Jaemin Park sat next to Kim. He was taking notes on his tablet, writing down every word. Captain So-Young Lee stood by the wall, her eyes moving around the room like a hawk, watching for danger. At the center of the room, a tall, thin alien was speaking. His name was Veltar, and he was from the Rilken species. His blue skin was pale with worry. His forearms shook as he held up holographic images. "Please," Veltar said, his voice breaking. "Look at these pictures. This was our colony on Theta 7. The hologram showed a burned world. Black smoke rose from destroyed cities. Nothing moved in the ash-covered streets. 3 million Rilkens lived there." Veltar continued. "Now they are all dead. The Graxians killed them in 2 days." Around the room, the other aliens shifted in their seats. Some looked sad. Others looked angry. But Admiral Kim noticed something else in their eyes. Fear. The Graxians were winning their war. They had been attacking worlds in the Outer Rim for 8 months. 17 planets had fallen. Billions were dead or enslaved. Chairman Zethvar of the Zenthari Empire stood up. He was tall and proud, with golden skin and silver robes. "We understand your pain, Ambassador Veltar, but the Zenthari fleet is fighting pirates in the Andor system. We cannot spare ships." "What about the Void Collective?" Veltar asked, turning to another representative. The Void Collective's speaker was a robot made of dark metal. Its red eyes glowed as it spoke in a mechanical voice. "Our ships protect trade routes. We cannot leave merchant vessels undefended." Veltar's shoulders dropped. He looked around the room, desperate. "The Silicon Brotherhood, anyone?" One by one, the great powers of the galaxy gave their excuses. They all had other problems, other wars, other priorities. Admiral Kim watched all this and felt sick. These aliens talked and talked, but they did nothing. While they made speeches, people were dying. Captain Lee leaned down and whispered in Kim's ear. "Our intelligence says the Graxians will attack the Rilken homeworld in 6 months. Maybe less." Kim nodded. He had read Lee's reports. The Graxians were not just conquerors. They were monsters. They enslaved children. They burned hospitals. They made other species watch while they destroyed everything beautiful in the galaxy. "We could send some supplies," offered the Silicon Brotherhood's representative. "Medical, equipment, food." Veltar's blue skin turned darker with anger. "My people need warriors, not bandages. The Graxians have 10,000 warships. They have weapons that can crack planets. We need someone to fight them. Fighting is not the Council way," Chairman Zethvar said in his calm, superior voice. "We believe in peace in negotiation. You cannot negotiate with the Graxians," Veltar shouted. "I have tried. They laugh at peace talks. They think mercy is weakness." The room fell silent. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Veltar did something unexpected. He turned around and looked straight at Admiral Kim. "What about the humans?" he asked. Every alien in the room turned to stare. Some looked surprised. Others looked disgusted. Chairman Zethvar frowned. "The humans are not council members. They have no authority here. But they have ships," Veltar said. "They have soldiers. I have heard stories about human warriors." "Savage stories," another alien muttered. Admiral Kim stood up slowly. He was not as tall as most aliens, but something about him made the room pay attention. "Ambassador Veltar," Kim said in a quiet voice, "what exactly are you asking?" Veltar walked across the room. He stopped in front of Kim and did something that shocked everyone. He got down on his knees. "I am begging you," Veltar said. "My species is dying. In 6 months, there will be no more Rilkans in the galaxy. The Council talks, but you humans, you act. The humans are too violent, Chairman Zethvar said quickly. Too aggressive. That is why they cannot join the Council. Kim looked at the chairman, then back at Veltar. What can you offer in return? Everything, Veltar said without hesitation. If you save my people, the Rilkans will support human membership in the Council. We will vote for you. We will speak for you. Ambassador Park leaned forward. This was important. Humanity had wanted Council membership for decades. The Rilkans had 3 votes in the Council. It could make the difference. The Council will never approve human military action, Chairman Zethvar warned. Kim smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Who said anything about asking for approval? The room erupted in angry voices. Aliens shouted at each other in different languages. Some demanded that the humans be removed from the station, but Kim ignored them all. He looked down at Veltar, who was still on his knees. Get up, Ambassador, Kim said gently. No one should kneel when asking for help. Veltar stood, hope shining in his large eyes. Kim pulled out his communication device. It was a simple thing, but it could reach Earth from anywhere in the galaxy. This is Admiral Kim, to Earth High Command, he said into the device. Priority Alpha transmission. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what Priority Alpha meant. Emergency, maximum importance. The device crackled to life. This is General Choi. Go ahead, Admiral. Kim looked around the room at all the alien faces watching him. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. General, Kim said clearly, we have been asked for help. A species called the Rilkans is facing extinction. The enemy is called the Graxians. They are murdering civilians and enslaving children. Understood. General Choi's voice came through the device. What is the Council's position? Kim glanced at Chairman Zethvar. The Council prefers to talk. There was a pause. Then General Choi spoke again, and his voice was cold as space. Admiral Kim, you have permission to show them what humanity does best. The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one in the room moved. Then Veltar grabbed Kim's hand with all 4 of his arms. Thank you, the Rilkan whispered. Thank you. Kim nodded. Then he looked up at the other aliens in the room. You called us too violent for your council, he said. Too aggressive for civilized space. But when you needed violence, when you needed aggression, you had nowhere else to turn. He walked toward the door with Ambassador Park and Captain Lee following behind him. Where are you going? Chairman Zethvar demanded. Kim stopped at the door and turned back. To save a species, he said. While you debate. As the 3 humans left the room, they could hear the aliens arguing behind them. But Admiral Kim was not thinking about alien politics anymore. He was thinking about Earth, about humanity's greatest strength. When someone asked humans for help, they did not form committees. They did not hold meetings. They did not count the cost. They acted, and the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. General Tae-ho Choi stood in the war room deep inside Earth's military command center. Around him, dozens of screens showed star maps, ship positions, and battle reports. The room buzzed with activity as officers ran back and forth carrying orders. But Choi was calm. He had been waiting for this moment his whole life. Sir, called out a young officer, we have confirmation from Admiral Kim. The Rilkans have officially requested military assistance. Choi nodded. He pressed a button on his desk, and alarms began ringing throughout the building. Not panic alarms, mobilization alarms. Attention, all personnel. Choi spoke into his microphone. Protocol 7 is now active. I repeat, Protocol 7 is active. In military bases around Earth, soldiers stopped what they were doing. Protocol 7 meant total war mobilization. It had never been used before. Not even during the worst conflicts in human history. Dr. Hye Jin-yoon rushed into the war room carrying a thick folder. She was Earth's best military strategist and alien expert. Her job was to study other species and figure out how to fight them. General, she said, slightly out of breath. I have the complete analysis of Graxian forces. Choi took the folder and opened it. Inside were pictures of Graxian warriors. They looked like giant lizards walking on two legs. Their skin was thick and gray. Their teeth were sharp like knives. Tell me, Choi said. Dr. Yoon activated a holographic display. It showed a Graxian warship. The ship was huge and shaped like a spear. The Graxians are strong, she explained. Very strong. But they are not smart fighters. They use the same tactics on every world. Send in massive fleets, destroy everything, take prisoners for slaves. What about their technology? Advanced but old. They have not changed their ship designs in 300 years. They do not adapt. They do not learn from mistakes. Choi smiled. That was good news. Humans were very good at adapting. Commander. Do-hyun Kang entered the room. He led Earth's Special Operations Forces. His soldiers were trained for the most dangerous missions behind enemy lines. General, Kang said, my teams are ready to deploy. We can be in Graxian space within 2 weeks. Good, Choi replied. What about intelligence gathering? Already started. We have people watching Graxian movements in 12 star systems. They do not know we exist yet. Minister Yoon Ji-han, Earth's Secretary of Defense, walked in next. She looked worried. General, she said, I just got off a call with the Galactic Council. They are not happy. Chairman Zethvar is demanding we ask permission before any military action. Choi laughed. It was not a happy sound. Did you tell him what I think about his permission? I told him that Earth does not need permission to save innocent lives, Minister Han replied. He did not like that answer. Across the room, a communications officer raised her hand. General, incoming message from Luna Shipyards. Choi walked over to the communication station. Luna was Earth's main shipbuilding facility, built into the moon itself. This is Admiral Jin-Soo Bay at Luna, came the voice through the speakers. All ships are ready for immediate deployment. 847 warships fully armed and crewed. The room fell silent. Even Choi looked surprised. 800? He asked. I thought we only had 300 ships. That was the number we reported to the Galactic Council, Admiral Bay replied. The real number is much higher. We have been building ships in secret for 20 years. Dr. Yoon stared at the general. Why? Choi's expression grew serious. Because we knew this day would come. The galaxy thinks we are weak. They think we are few. They are wrong on both counts. On the screens around the room, images began appearing. Huge factories in Earth's asteroid belt, hidden shipyards in deep space, weapons production facilities that the aliens had never seen. How many soldiers do we have? Minister Han asked. 50,000 Marines ready for immediate deployment, Commander Kang answered. Another 200,000 can be ready within a month. And supplies? Enough ammunition to fight for 5 years, Choi said. Enough food and medical supplies for longer than that. Dr. Yoon was looking at her tablet, running calculations. General, the Graxians have been fighting for 8 months. They have conquered 17 worlds. But they have never faced an opponent like us. What do you mean? They fight other aliens the same way every time. But humans fight differently. We adapt. We change tactics, we use psychology. Choi nodded. He had studied human military history. Humans did not just fight with weapons, they fought with their minds. An urgent beeping sound came from the main communication console. The officer there looked up with wide eyes. General, priority message from the Rilken homeworld. The main screen activated. Ambassador Veltar appeared, but he looked different now. His blue skin was darker with stress. His forearms shook as he spoke. General Choi, Veltar said, thank you for accepting our request. But I must give you terrible news. The Graxians have moved faster than expected. They will attack our homeworld in 2 weeks, not 6 months. The room erupted in worried voices. 2 weeks was almost no time. At all. Choi held up his hand for silence. Ambassador, how many Rilkens are on your homeworld? 2 billion, Veltar replied. Including 1 billion children. Choi closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were hard as steel. Ambassador, I give you my word. The Graxians will not harm your people. But General, 2 weeks is not enough time. It is enough, Choi interrupted. Humans do not need months to prepare for war. We need hours. The transmission ended. Choi turned to face his officers. Admiral Bay, how fast can your ships reach Rilken space? At maximum speed, 10 days. Do it. Take every ship we have. Sir, Dr. Yoon said carefully. The Graxians have over 10,000 warships. We have less than 1,000. Choi smiled again. This time it was a dangerous smile. Doctor, you are thinking like the other aliens. You are counting ships. But wars are not won by counting. They are won by fighting. He walked to the center of the room and activated the main communication system. This is General Choi to all Earth forces. His voice echoed through every military base on Earth and beyond. Today we received a call for help. A peaceful species is facing extinction. Children are going to die unless we act. He paused, looking around the room at all the officers watching him. The galaxy thinks we are too violent, too aggressive. They say we do not belong in civilized space. Today we will show them what civilized means. It means protecting the innocent. It means standing up to bullies. It means fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. Another pause. Prepare for departure. In 72 hours, the human fleet will jump to Rilkan space. We are going to show the Graxians what happens when they threaten the innocent. The communication ended. Around the room, officers began running to carry out orders. Commander Kang approached Choi. General, the council will be furious when they find out what we are doing. Choi nodded. Let them be furious. While they hold meetings and make speeches, children are dying. We are going to stop that. What if they try to stop us? Choi looked at the star map showing the path to Rilken space. It was a long journey, a dangerous journey, but it was the right journey. Commander, he said quietly, no one stops humanity when we decide to help someone. No one. Outside, the Earth's war machine began to move. Ships that had been hidden for decades emerged from secret bases. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Weapons were loaded and checked. The galaxy was about to learn something new about humans. When they made a promise, they kept it, no matter what. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stood on the bridge of his flagship, Earth's Hope. Through the large windows, he could see the Rilken homeworld of Thyros Prime. It was a beautiful blue and green planet like Earth. But today, it would become a battlefield. Admiral, called out Captain Sang-Min Cha from his battleship Soul's Fury. Enemy fleet detected. Long-range sensors show over 8,000 Graxian ships approaching. Kim nodded calmly. Around him, his officers worked at their stations. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. How many ships do we have? Kim asked his tactical officer. 847, sir, all ready for battle. The numbers were not good, 8,000 against 800. But Kim had learned something during his 30 years in the military. Numbers did not always win wars. On the planet below, Veltar watched the sky through his office window. He could see the tiny lights of human ships getting into position. So few ships to fight so many enemies. Sir, came a voice behind him. It was his aide, a young Rilkan named Kolmei. The evacuation ships are ready. We can move the children to the underground shelters. No, Veltar said quietly. If the humans lose, the Graxians will find the children anyway. Our only hope is that these humans are as good as they think they are. In space above the planet, the Graxian fleet approached like a dark cloud. Their ships were huge and ugly, built only for destruction. War Chief Mordesh commanded from his massive flagship, laughing as he saw how few human ships waited for him. These humans are fools, he told his officers. 800 ships against my 8,000. They will be destroyed in minutes. Mordesh had conquered 17 worlds. He had killed billions of aliens. He thought humans would be just as easy to defeat. He was very wrong. All ships, Admiral Kim spoke into his communicator. Remember your training. Fight like humans, adapt, survive, win. The battle began at exactly 0800 hours, Thyros Standard Time. The Graxians attacked the way they always did. Their ships formed a straight line and flew directly at the human fleet, firing their plasma cannons. It was the same tactic they had, used on every world they conquered. But the humans did not fight like other aliens. Instead of forming a line to meet the Graxians, the human ships scattered in all directions. Some flew high above the Graxian fleet, others dove below it. The fastest, ships led by destroyers, darted between the enemy ships like angry wasps. "What are they doing?" Mordesh roared. "Why are they not fighting properly?" His officers had no answer. They had never seen anything like this before. Lieutenant Yujin Nam led a squadron of human fighters toward the Graxian flagship. Her small ship was fast and could turn quickly. The Graxian weapons were too slow to hit her. "This is Lightning Squad," she reported over the radio. "Beginning attack run on the enemy command ship." Nam's fighters swooped down on the Graxian flagship like hunting birds. Their weapons were small, but they aimed for the ship's communication arrays and sensor systems. Soon Mordesh could not talk to half his fleet. "Captain Cha," Admiral Kim called out, "take your battleship and hit their left flank. Show them what human engineering can do." Captain Cha smiled grimly. The Soul's Fury was not the biggest ship in space, but it was built by humans. That made it special. The Soul's Fury flew straight into a group of 20 Graxian ships. The aliens focused all their fire on the human battleship. Plasma beams and particle cannons hit the ship again and again, but the human ship kept fighting. "Hull breach on decks 5 through 8, called out Cha's damage control officer. "Engine room is flooded," called out another. "Half our weapons are offline." Captain Cha just smiled. "Switch to backup systems. Keep firing." This was what made human ships different. When an alien ship was badly damaged, it usually stopped fighting. But human ships were built to keep working even when they were falling apart. The Soul's Fury limped toward the largest Graxian ship in the group. Its hull was torn open. Fires burned on several decks, but its main guns still worked. "Fire everything," Cha ordered. The human battleship's guns roared, all of them at once. The concentrated firepower tore through the Graxian ship's shields and armor like paper. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire. War Chief Mordesh watched in shock as his forces began to fall back. This was not supposed to happen. The humans were outnumbered. They should have been destroyed by now. "Send in the reserve fleet," he ordered. "Crush these insects." But even as more Graxian ships joined the battle, the humans continued to fight in ways the aliens could not understand. Major Ji-hoon Ryu led 5,000 Marines in assault pods toward the planet's surface. The Graxians had already landed troops there, setting up weapons to shoot at human ships. "Remember," Ryu told his Marines over the radio, "we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every Rilkan child on this planet." The Marine assault pods hit the ground like meteors. Before the Graxian ground forces knew what was happening, human soldiers were among them. The Graxians were bigger and stronger than humans, but they had never fought anyone like Marines before. Human soldiers moved fast and smart. They used the terrain. They worked together. When one Marine was wounded, 2 others covered him. When they ran out of ammunition, they took weapons from fallen enemies. Within 2 hours, Major Ryu's Marines had cleared 3 Graxian landing zones and rescued 5,000 Rilkan civilians. Back in space, the battle was turning. The Graxians still had more ships, but they were confused and scared. Their simple tactics were not working against human unpredictability. "Admiral," reported Kim's communications officer, "we are receiving a transmission from the Graxian flagship." "Put it on screen." War Chief Mordesh appeared on the main viewer. His gray skin was dark with anger. His sharp teeth showed as he snarled. "Human commander," he said, "you fight well, but you cannot win. I will destroy this planet and everyone on it rather than lose." Admiral Kim stood up slowly. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold as space. "War, Chief Mordesh. You came here to conquer a peaceful people. You came here to kill children. You made a mistake." "What mistake?" Mordesh laughed. You asked for a fight with humanity. Now you have one. Kim turned to his weapons officer. Target all Graxian ships. Prepare to fire everything we have. Sir, his tactical officer said quietly. If we use all our firepower at once, we might damage the planet below. Kim thought for a moment. On the planet, 2 billion Rilkans waited to see if they would live or die. Adjust targeting, Kim ordered. Precision strikes only, no collateral damage. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. Every human ship fired at exactly the same moment. But instead of random shooting, every shot was perfectly aimed. Human computers calculated the exact angle and power needed to destroy enemy ships without harming the planet. In 30 seconds, 3,000 Graxian ships were destroyed. War Chief Mordesh stared in horror as half his fleet disappeared in explosions of light. He had never seen such precise, deadly firepower. Impossible, he whispered. Commander Kang to Admiral Kim, came a voice over the radio. My special forces have captured the Graxian slave camps. We found 10,000 prisoners from 6 different species. Kim nodded. Free them all. Send them home. On his flagship, Mordesh made a final, desperate decision. If he could not conquer this world, he would destroy it completely. He ordered his remaining ships to target the planet's cities. If I cannot have this world, he snarled, no one can. But as the Graxian ships turned their weapons toward the planet, Admiral Kim spoke one last time to his fleet. All ships, they want to hurt innocents. Stop them. The human fleet moved like a single living thing. Every ship knew exactly what to do without being told. This was what made humans different from other species. They did not just fight as individuals, they fought as one people with one purpose. The remaining Graxian ships tried to fire on the planet, but the humans were too fast. Human fighters intercepted every shot. Human destroyers rammed Graxian ships to stop them from firing. In the end, War Chief Mordesh found himself alone. His fleet was destroyed. His armies were defeated. His slave camps were empty. This is not over, he transmitted to the human fleet. The Graxian Empire will send more ships. We will have revenge. Admiral Kim's response was heard throughout the galaxy. Let them come. Humanity will be waiting. As the last Graxian ships fled or burned in space, Veltar stood on his planet's surface, looking up at the human fleet. Around him, Rilkan children played in streets that had been battlefields just hours before. We asked for help, he whispered to himself, and they brought total war. Not against us, but for us. The battle was over, but the galaxy would never be the same. President Jin A. Song stood in the Earth government's main hall, looking at the wall of screens showing news from across the galaxy. Every channel was talking about the Battle of Thyros Prime. The victory that took only 12 hours had shaken the entire galactic community. Madam President, called her aide, the Galactic Council has called an emergency session. They want to speak with you immediately. Song nodded. She had been expecting this call. On the screens, alien news reporters were trying to understand what had happened. How had humanity defeated a fleet 10 times larger? How had they saved 2 billion Rilkans without losing a single human ship? Connect me to the council, Song ordered. The main screen changed to show the council chambers on Nexus Prime. Chairman Zethvar sat in the center, his golden face dark with anger. Around him, representatives from 12 species looked worried and afraid. President Song, Chairman Zethvar said coldly, humanity has committed an act of war without council approval. This cannot be allowed. Song smiled calmly. Chairman, we saved 2 billion innocent lives. We stopped a genocide. I thought the council would be grateful. Grateful? The Silicon Brotherhood's robot representative spoke up. You used excessive force. You destroyed thousands of ships. You killed millions of Graxians. The Graxians were trying to murder children, Song replied. Should we have asked them politely to stop? Ambassador Jamin Park, now Earth Chief Negotiator, stepped forward. In his hands, he carried a thick folder of documents. Council members, Park said, we have evidence of Graxian war crimes on 17 worlds, mass murder, slavery, torture of prisoners. The galaxy did nothing while these crimes happened. He opened the folder and showed holographic images. Dead cities, burned hospitals, children in slave camps. For 8 months the Graxians committed genocide while the council held meetings, Park continued. Humanity acted in 72 hours. Chairman Zethvar slammed his hand on his desk. That is exactly the problem. Humans act too quickly. You are too violent, too dangerous. Captain So-Young Lee, now head of human intelligence, activated her own holographic display. It showed financial records and communication logs. Perhaps the council should explain why they really did nothing, Lee said calmly. The images showed something shocking. The council's member species had been making money from the Graxian War. They sold weapons to both sides. They provided supplies to refugee camps while charging high prices. They even bought slaves from Graxian markets. You kept the war going, because it was profitable, Lee continued. The longer the Graxians fought, the more money you made. The council chamber erupted in angry shouts. Some representatives demanded that Lee be removed. Others tried to deny the evidence, but President Song spoke over them all. For 30 years you told us humans were too violent for your council, too aggressive for civilized space. But when innocent people needed saving, who did you call? You called the violent humans, you called the aggressive humans, because deep down, you knew we would do what you would not. She paused, looking at each alien representative. Today, I am announcing the creation of the Human Protection Alliance. Any species that wants real protection from genocide and slavery can join us. We will not charge fees. We will not hold meetings while people die. We will act. Before the council could respond, alerts began flashing on screens throughout the chamber. An aide rushed to Chairman Zethvar and whispered in his ear. The chairman's golden face went pale. What is it? Asked the Void Collective's representative. 12 worlds have just requested to join the Human Protection Alliance, the chairman said quietly. 3 more species have asked for human military bases in their systems. President Song nodded. The galaxy is tired of committees that do nothing while people suffer. They want protectors who will fight for them. Over the next hour, more reports came in. The news was devastating for the council's authority. The beaten Republic wanted human marines stationed on their borders. The Coral Worlds offered to build human shipyards in their systems. Even some council member species were secretly asking for human protection. This is impossible, muttered the Silicon Brotherhood representative. Humans are just one species. You cannot protect the entire galaxy. Captain Lee smiled. We do not need to protect everyone. We just need to protect those who ask for help. The rest of the galaxy will handle itself. But even as the political situation changed, long-range sensors detected something new. Captain Lee received the report first, and her face went white. Madam, President, she said urgently, we have a problem. A big problem. She activated her emergency communicator. This is Captain Lee to all human forces. Priority Alpha alert. Unknown fleet approaching from the galactic core. Size estimate, over. 1 million ships. The council chamber fell silent. 1 million ships was more than all the galaxy's fleets combined. What species has 1 million ships? President Song asked. Lee checked her scanners again. Unknown. But they are not using any technology we recognize, and they are heading straight for human space. Admiral Kim's voice came through the communicator from his flagship near Thyros Prime. Captain Lee, can you identify the fleet's origin? Negative, Admiral. But based on their trajectory, they came from beyond the galactic rim, from unexplored space. Chairman Zethvar stood up slowly. For the first time, he looked truly afraid. President Song, he said quietly, there are stories. Old stories about things that live beyond the galaxy, things that hate all organic life. What kind of things? The hive mind, a collective consciousness that consumes entire species. They were driven out of this galaxy millions of years ago. If they have returned, the communication system activated again. This time, the voice was strange. It sounded like 1,000 voices speaking as one. Species of this galaxy, the voice said. We are the Overmind. We have returned to reclaim what was once ours. You will surrender or be consumed. The message continued. We have observed your recent conflict. The species, called humans, shows too much independence, too much chaos. You will be eliminated first. President Song looked at the council members. They all stared back at her with fear in their eyes. Well, she said calmly, it looks like the galaxy has a new problem. She turned to the communication system. Admiral Kim, General Choi, all human forces, new mission parameters. We have a hostile alien fleet approaching Earth. Size, approximately 1 million ships. Intent, genocide of humanity and conquest of the galaxy. She paused, then smiled. Gentlemen, it looks like someone else wants to fight us. Let's show them what happens when they threaten humanity. The transmission ended. President Song looked at the council members one last time. Chairman Zethvar, members of the council, you have a choice. You can keep holding meetings while the galaxy burns, or you can join humanity in defending our home. Chairman Zethvar was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up. President Song, he said formally, the Zenthari Empire requests permission to join the Human Protection Alliance. One by one, the other council members stood up. The Silicon Brotherhood, the Void Collective, even species that had opposed humanity for decades. We accept, Song replied. Welcome to the Alliance. As the meeting ended, Captain Lee pulled President Song aside. Madam President, the hive mind fleet will reach Earth in 2 weeks. We need to prepare. Song nodded. Captain, send a message to every human ship, every human base, every human colony. Tell them to come home. All of them. Ma'am, if the hive mind wants to fight humanity, they will face all of humanity. Every ship, every soldier, every citizen who can hold a weapon. She looked out at the stars, where somewhere in the darkness an ancient enemy was coming to destroy everything she loved. They think they can eliminate us because we bring chaos to their perfect order. Let's show them just how chaotic humans can be. The Second War was about to begin. Fleet Admiral Hyun-Woo Kim stood on the bridge of the new human flagship Earth's Defiance, watching the largest fleet in galactic history assemble around Earth. 2 weeks had passed since the hive mind's ultimatum, and humanity was ready. Admiral, reported his tactical officer. Final count, 3,000 human ships plus another 2,000 from Alliance species. All ships report ready for battle. Kim nodded. It was still not enough. The hive mind had 1 million ships. But humans had learned long ago that numbers were not everything. General Taeho Choi's voice came through the communicator from Earth's surface. Admiral, all planetary defenses are online. Every city has been evacuated to underground shelters. We are as ready as we can be. But the real surprise came from Director Min-Ho Lim, head of human intelligence. Over the past 2 weeks, his agents had been very busy. Admiral, Lim reported, I have good news. The hive mind is not as united as they want us to believe. My people have made contact with 47 enslaved species within their fleet. They want to rebel, but they need help. Kim smiled grimly. This was what humans did best. They did not just fight enemies. They made friends with everyone their enemies had hurt. Ambassador Ji-Woo Shin had been working with these enslaved species through secret communications. Her job was to coordinate the rebellion when the battle began. Admiral, Shin reported, the Kalani, the Vorthan, and 35 other species are ready to fight their hive captors. They just need a signal. The hive mind fleet arrived exactly when their message had promised. Long-range sensors detected them at the edge of the solar system. The ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were not built. They were grown. Living ships with organic weapons and self-healing hulls. All ships, Admiral Kim broadcast to the Alliance fleet. Remember, we are not just fighting for Earth. We are fighting for the freedom of every thinking being in the galaxy. The Overmind's voice echoed through space, reaching every ship in the system. Humans of Earth, you have brought chaos to our perfect order. You have infected other species with your independence. This ends now. Surrender, and your deaths will be quick. President Song's response was broadcast from Earth to every corner of the galaxy. Overmind. You call our independence chaos. You call our freedom infection. You are right. We are chaos to your order. We are infection to your control. and we are proud of it. The battle began at exactly noon, Earth Standard Time. The hive ships moved in perfect formation, like a single organism. Their strategy was simple: overwhelm the defenders with sheer numbers. But the Alliance fleet did not fight like other galactic forces. Under human command, they fought like humans, unpredictably, creatively, chaotically. Captain Sang-Min Cha, now commanding the super battleship Seoul's Thunder, led the first attack wave. His ship was joined by Zenthari cruisers, Rilken fighters, and ships from a dozen other species. "This is Thunderlead," Cha reported. "Beginning harassment tactics. All ships, remember your training. Fight like humans." What followed confused the hive mind completely. The Alliance ships did not try to match the enemy formation. Instead, they spread out across the entire solar system, hitting the hive fleet from every direction at once. Human destroyers, fast and agile, darted between the massive bioships like hunting sharks. Zenthari energy weapons, known for their precision, targeted the hive ship's command nodes. Rilken fighters, grateful for human protection, flew suicide missions to destroy enemy weapons. But the real surprise came when Director Lim activated his secret plan. All enslaved species within the hive fleet, he broadcast on hidden frequencies. "This is your moment. Fight for your freedom." Suddenly, the hive mind's perfect unity shattered. Inside hundreds of bioships, enslaved aliens turned against their IO captors. Kalani warriors, enslaved for centuries, broke free and seized control of weapon systems. Vorthan engineers sabotaged the ship's life support systems. The Overmind's voice screamed across space in rage and confusion. "Impossible! Our control is absolute. Our order is perfect." Admiral Kim's response was calm but deadly. "Your order is broken. Your control is ended. This is what freedom looks like." The battle raged for 6 hours. The hive mind kept sending more ships, but the Alliance forces adapted to every new tactic. When the enemy used biological weapons, human scientists created instant countermeasures. When hive ships tried to ram Alliance vessels, human pilots outmaneuvered them. Major Ji-hoon Ryu, now a colonel, led marine boarding parties onto captured hive ships. His job was to free more enslaved species and turn them into allies. "This is Ryu to Admiral Kim," he reported from inside a massive bioship. "We have freed 3,000 Kalani warriors. They are asking permission to join the fight." "Permission granted," Kim replied. "Welcome to the Alliance." The turning point came when Dr. Hyejin Yoon made a discovery that changed everything. She had been studying captured hive technology and found something unexpected. "Admiral," she called, out excitedly. "The hive mind is not a single consciousness. It is billions of individual minds forced to think as one. If we can break their mental control system, do it," Kim ordered. Dr. Yoon's team worked frantically to modify human communication systems. Instead of sending messages, they would send chaos, pure creative human chaos, directly into the hive mind's control network. "Broadcasting now," Yoon reported. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. The human broadcast was not words or pictures. It was pure human creativity. Music from every human culture. Art from every human civilization. Stories of love, hope, dreams, and individual freedom. The hive mind, evolved for perfect control and order, could not process this chaotic flood of human creativity. The Overmind's voice began to stutter and break. "Error. Cannot compute. Too much chaos. Control failing." Across the hive fleet, millions of enslaved minds began to think for themselves for the first time in centuries. Bioships stopped attacking and began fighting each other as freed slaves took control. The Overmind made one last desperate attempt. It ordered all remaining ships to ram Earth directly, planning to destroy the planet even if it meant losing the entire fleet. But Admiral Kim was ready. "All ships," he broadcast. "Final defensive formation. Protect Earth at all costs." The Alliance fleet moved as one. 5,000 ships formed a protective wall around Earth. When the hive ships tried to break through, they met the concentrated firepower of every free species in the galaxy. The last hive ship was destroyed just 1,000 kilometers from Earth's surface. In the silence that followed, the Overmind's voice spoke one final time, weak and broken. How did you defeat us? We had perfect order, perfect control. Admiral Kim's answer was heard across the galaxy. Because you tried. To control chaos, you tried to order freedom. You tried to make slaves of people who chose to be free. That was your mistake. The transmission ended. The hive mind was gone. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed completely. The old council dissolved, replaced by the Galactic Federation, a true democracy where every species had a voice. Ambassador Jiwoo Shin became the Federation's first Secretary General. Her first act was to establish the Universal Protection Charter, guaranteeing that no species would ever face genocide alone. Admiral Kim kept his promise to explore the galaxy's rim, where new threats and new friends waited to be discovered. But now he led not just human ships but vessels from 47 liberated species, who had chosen freedom over control. President Song addressed the new Federation from Earth. Today, we learned that the galaxy's greatest strength is not order or control. It is chaos. It is the beautiful, unpredictable chaos of free beings choosing to help each other. She paused, looking out at representatives from hundreds of worlds. The Rilkins begged for help and humanity brought total war. Not to conquer, but to protect. Not to control, but to free. That is what we will always do. When someone asks for help, we will answer. Years later, when alien children learned about the Great Liberation, they always asked the same question. Why did the humans fight so hard for people they had never met? The answer was always the same. Because that is what humans do. They do not wait for permission to help. They do not count the cost of doing right. When someone needs help, they act. And in the far reaches of space, human ships continued to patrol, carrying a simple message to every corner of the galaxy. If you need help, call humanity. We will come. The galaxy had learned what it meant when humans brought total war. It meant total commitment to protecting the innocent. And that made all the difference.